Hello, I'm Tamara Barker, and this is my course reflection for Fundamentals in Religion 261, Introduction to Family History. Welcome to my nest. Recently, we were given an assignment to look into the website Pazilla in order to find our missing relatives out of our family trees. And in doing this, I was taking advantage of the opportunity for descendancy research and finding lost cousins and others needing ordnance work done. And so for fun, I thought I would put in a search in Pazilla to find in my father's direct line. I knew it had been heavily done, so there shouldn't conceivably be anything there to work on, but guess what? I discovered in looking that most definitely there were holes. And so as I focused on one person in particular, I focused on Emily Virginia Buchanan. And at the time that I did this, it did not show any descendants for her, and I knew that was incorrect. And so as I looked up her information and I looked up her family's information, I was able to find what I had already on her spouse and her children. And in further research, I was able to bring up the records to show proof for all of those things. I was dismayed when I got into Family Tree to discover that her spouse and her children were already entered in. Her children had been sealed to their stepmother, so that needed correcting. So I took the information that I had, I made the proper corrections, and I was able to get them lined out and in order. I realized that at the time the work was being done, it was easy for people to get lost. That if they moved away and they didn't stay in touch, then there was no one to record that information among their families. And that's apparently what happened. Then Jenny, or Emily Virginia, died very young. And so in census records, it was the stepmother that was listed with the family. But I knew that it was important that Jenny be able to have her family sealed to her. I've gotten used over the years to this feeling that permeates my home as I work. And it's most definitely the spirit of those that are waiting for their work to be done. They're waiting to be found. And in fact, in doing this, there have been some really unusual circumstances. And my family has gotten so accustomed to this that my husband will just come and say, "So what are you working on now?" And I'll tell him, and there are manifestations that happen with such occurrences. And one of those, for instance, has been the anniversary clock that was damaged in a move many years ago so that the mechanism no longer worked. And while the clock used to play its tune every hour, it could no longer do so. However, when I got heavily involved in family history work, well, late at night particularly, on several occasions, the clock has played its tune. And my family has joked about, "Oh, they're here," knowing that we had spirits among us. Well, the interesting thing about doing Emily Virginia's work in getting her family corrected so that they were back together, my husband came out to me and he said, "So who are you working on this time?" And so I was able to tell him that it was Emily, that I was working on, but I was puzzled by his question, and I said, "Why did you ask that?" And he said, "Because while sitting next to the piano," he said, "with the keyboard closed, the piano started playing notes." And I wondered who you were working on this time, because I knew that it had to be connected to that. What a thrill it was for me to have that manifestation and to feel that spirit of that ancestor of mine that was so overjoyed at being able to have her children and her spouse now connected to her. They will be able to be sealed together. I think in reality that if I had to say what my favorite thing to do is, it would be to go to the temple and do sealings for families. It's such an incredible joy to me to do that. However, I can't do that unless I first do family history research and find the necessary information and documents to be able to link them together. I love a good puzzle. I love a mystery. Family history has all of that, and it delights me to tease out the hard to find, but I'm also tickled every time the floodgates open and the ancestors just come racing out, anxiously wanting their information recorded too, so their work can be done. I know of nothing better to do. There's certainly no TV program or ball game that will ever equal what I'm doing when I'm doing family history research. I hope that your journey in family history is just as wonderful as mine has been. I hope that you enjoy finding your family members and their stories. Merry Christmas.